This is WFYI News Now. It's February 17th, and I'm Zach Bundy filling in for Abriana Herron. On today's show, Indiana schools may not get the massive funding cuts once proposed in a plan to lower property taxes. Help for students who haven't yet filed for federal financial aid to help pay for college. And Governor Mike Braun says the state is monitoring bird flu.
We know from scientific studies that the virus that currently is being spread between birds and occasionally from birds to humans only needs one or two mutations to cause it to spread effectively between humans.
Those stories coming up, but first. Legislation aimed to dissolve Indianapolis Public Schools won't move forward in the Indiana legislature. That's because the committee required to advance House Bill 1136 won't hear it, WFYI confirmed late last week. The bill proposed converting 50 Indianapolis Public Schools campuses into charter schools and disbanding the elected school board. A district spokesperson said they celebrate this outcome, but will remain diligent in ensuring the language from the bill does not return. In Indiana's General Assembly, bills that fail to advance out of committee are considered dead, although language from them can still be added to surviving bills through amendments. And more education news out of the Statehouse. Indiana schools may not get the massive funding cuts once proposed in a plan to lower property taxes. Senate Republicans have revised Senate Bill 1, significantly reducing its impact on school budgets. The latest version of the plan will cost school districts $371 million over 3 years, far less than the original $1.9 billion cut in Governor Mike Braun's proposal. Some districts like Hamilton Southeastern schools still face significant losses, but leaders say they appreciate the Senate's adjustments. The bill now heads to the Senate floor, where more changes are expected before the session ends in April. To see how your school is impacted, check out the database on our website. The 2025 legislative session must conclude by the end of April. Students who have yet to file for federal financial aid to help pay for college can still get help. From WFYI's Education Desk, Sydney Dauphiné has more on College Goal Sunday.
February 23rd is College Goal Sunday, the state's biggest financial aid event. Students can get help with the free application for federal student aid at nearly 40 locations across the state and several in Indianapolis. Students and parents should bring their 2023 tax return, their Social Security or immigration number, and any records of untaxed income. Families should create their federal student aid ID at least a few days ahead of the event. A full list of locations can be found at collegegoalsunday.org. Indiana's priority FAFSA deadline is April 15th. I'm Sydney Dauphiné.
And for our final story today, bird flu has infected over 10 farms in Indiana since the start of the year, amounting to over 6 million birds. As Side Effects Public Media's Ben Thorpe reports, Governor Mike Braun says the state is monitoring the situation.
Braun put out a statement underlining that the state was monitoring both the impact of the outbreak on farmers and any risk of human exposure. Ohio announced recently that a county bordering Indiana had the state's first probable human case of H5N1 or bird flu. There have so far been no detections in Indiana. Christopher Stobart is a virologist at Butler University. He says scientists worry about the virus being given more opportunities to spread.
We know from scientific studies that the virus that currently is being spread between birds and occasionally from birds to humans only needs one or two mutations to cause it to spread effectively between humans.
Stobart says close monitoring is important, and he worries about a clampdown in communications from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention instituted by the current administration. I'm Ben Thorpe.
That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast today was produced by Drew Daudelin and me, Zach Bundy, with the support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music. If you liked today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back tomorrow.